As freezing temperatures persist, Ukraine endures a major energy crisis after Russian strikes left tens of thousands in Kyiv without power, heat, or water. While services are gradually being restored, emergency imports are set to increase. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian delegation has departed for the United States to meet with Witkoff and Kushner, aiming to secure a binding U.S. security guarantee. Now joining us here to discuss the latest concerning Ukraine and more is Roland Freudenstein, co-founder of the Brussels Freedom Hub. Hello, sir, and thank you so much for joining us on World News Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Yes, now, Ukraine is facing one of its worst energy crises yet due to the Russian attacks, and authorities are warning of more Russian attacks on the energy grid. Do you believe that if this continues at this pace, that we could see a total collapse in some areas of the Ukrainian energy grid? And what would this do to the morale and the people of Ukraine?
It's very difficult to predict. Until this winter, Ukraine has been absolutely remarkably resilient, reacting flexibly, repairing infrastructure, having generators, small mobile generators and all this. It seems like this winter is different, but honestly, I can't really imagine that Ukraine and its resilience and its will to defend its freedom and its existence is faltering now. There is a limit to what Russia can politically achieve with these attacks. I think it strengthens the resolve of the Ukrainians.
Kyiv has run out of air defense missiles, leaving critical infrastructure vulnerable to attack. President Zelensky has announced a major air defense package, but without disclosing where the package came from. Is the U.S. slowly moving away from even supplying weapons to Ukraine, even if Europe pays for them? And can Europe fill that void?
Well, that's the big fear now also in the latest Greenland crisis between the Europeans and the US. But I really have to emphasize that there are formidable domestic obstacles to Trump completely withdrawing support from Ukraine. I think in that case, he would have not only the Democrats in Congress acting against him, but actually some of his own people. We've seen that over the last couple of months, and that is something Trump has to reckon with. So I don't see him taking this decision as yet.
According to President Macron, France now supplies Kyiv with 75% of its intelligence, which was primarily supplied by Washington. Is this maybe proof that Europe can increase its military capabilities in a faster time frame than previously thought?
Well, intelligence is one thing. Military hardware is something different. I think we are in a dangerous bottleneck when it comes to ammunition. In other words, actual missiles for air defense. But when it comes to intelligence, and Macron's statement is amazing, actually. If it's true, if that really are the facts, then that takes away at least one threat that the US have actually repeatedly made vis-a-vis Ukraine and the Europeans by implication. So difficult to say, but I think that the military hardware situation is more serious. But there I would go back to what I just said before. I don't see the US cutting off the delivery of military hardware bought by the Europeans for Ukraine.
Another major problem that Ukraine is facing that we've heard for many months now is the manpower problems that it is having and the effect that that's having on the front lines. We've seen reports of up to 200,000 people abandoning their positions. And of course, mobilization is very difficult right now in Ukraine. Do you foresee, if this problem isn't fixed immediately or very soon, that Ukraine could lose even more territory in the east?
Yes, that's the big fear, but there are actually things that can be done. I mean, one news item that we heard in the last couple of days was actually Ukraine very successfully replacing manpower by robots. And I'm not talking about drones, I'm talking about ground-based robots with machine guns. That is already one prospect. The other one is a reform of military training. I mean, it's a bit complicated to explain, but to cut a long story short, I think by reforming military training, putting younger officers in charge of basic training, Ukraine could do a lot to keep people deserting after military training, because that is where most of the desertions are taking place at the moment.
Okay, before we run out of time here, I'd like to change the subject a little bit. Trump is hitting the UK and other EU countries with a 10% tariff over their stance on Greenland. How do you see this scenario playing out? And is there a possibility that the NATO alliance falls apart as a result of everything we're seeing from President Trump?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is the big fear at the moment in Europe. I believe that the transatlantic crisis over Greenland is the biggest immediate concern at the moment in Brussels. First of all, there's got to be a unified reaction to these tariffs against individual countries. The European Union will most likely threaten an escalation on its side. In other words, they want to respond in kind with their own tariffs against the US if the US tariffs are actually enacted. So far, we only have announcements. Second, what's happening is that Norway and the UK are completely on the side of the other Europeans. In other words, this is the European Union plus. Trump is actually undoing Brexit in a way. And third, what's really amazing is the first reactions of Europe's national populists have been very critical of Trump and very much in the way of unity and on a unified response to these threats. So that is really amazing. Populists are now getting on board with a European response. And last, I would say, Europe will have to continue to cooperate with US Congress in order to get some bipartisan majority of senators and Congress people to somehow stop these crazy aggressive acts by the president.
Okay, Roland Freudenstein, co-founder of Brussels Freedom Hub, thank you so much for this very interesting conversation. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And that concludes this edition of World News Tonight. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time. Good night.